Hi, this is Shop Talk. I'm Lexi Schultz sitting in for Ria Tanhuat Cotrillo. We'll end the week with our talented friends from Planet Zips and Hoopnation, and they'll tell us more about the business and art of spinning poise and hula hooping. Yes, it is a business. And joining us in this episode is Paulino Servado. He's the owner and CEO of Planet Zips. Paulino, I haven't seen you in a decade.
Yes, it's been a while, Lexi. It's good to see you again.
So you're a professional now. A professional, though, that seems to have a lot of fun with what he does.
Yep.
Talk to me about your background. What did you finish with college?
Marketing.
Okay.
I was an integrated marketing communications graduate. So.
You didn't look like you were sure.
No, I'm very sure. I graduated with honors.
Okay, there you go.
No, and I work in advertising, so this is a side business of
This
mine.
is a sideline, but it seems like something major because I see this everywhere. You go to Boracay, you see zippers. Is that what you call them?
Yep, poi artist zippers. Yeah.
Okay, so talk to me about Planet Zips and what exactly, because I also hear the term poi, and I get a little bit confused. Maybe you can clear it up for me.
Well, Planet Zips was started in 2004 by a friend, Kat Juan and Ana Villion. And it's been a while, but then at that time there was no poi in the Philippines. So as a business, when it started, they decided to come up with a product named Zips.
Okay.
So hence the name of the company, Planet Zips.
But why zips exactly? What exactly is it? Is it a lifestyle? Is it a way of... Because I know, I sort of equate it to like a capoeira or like a yoga. It's a way of life.
I'm glad that you mentioned that because for us advanced flow artists or poi artists, we treat these objects and these hobbies as a form of meditative movement practice, similar to Tai Chi, yoga, and performances, play, all that stuff just becomes the more fun aspects of this kind of practice or hobby.
With poi, though, I'm sure there's a bit of history.
Yep.
When it comes to it. Maybe you can talk about that a bit.
Poi actually originated from New Zealand.
Okay.
The Maori people performed it centuries ago. So it was similar to like our tinikling. It's a cultural dance.
So it's an Aboriginal sort of dance.
It's a parang tinikling natin, you know. It's a cultural dance that the Maori women used to do using flax ropes. But modern poi is very different from traditional poi. So traditional poi is what the Maoris used to do, and more modern poi is... If you travel abroad, you'll see a lot of it in beach culture, festival, Burning Man.
Yes.
And so it's in Europe more in the clubbing culture. So yeah.
Okay, so talk to us about Planet Zips as a business, I suppose, because it is very much a lifestyle, but then you can't also just enjoy and have fun. You sort of have to also make money out of it. So talk to us about it.
Well, Planet Zips started with just one product, which was zips. So at that point...
Do you have, I guess, sort of retro zip that you have? Do you have any that you can point to us?
Well, we've actually gone through a couple of variations and changes already, but our signature product would be these, which are called Katinka zips. Katinkas, named after Kat Juan, who's the original owner of the business.
Okay.
So she's still with us in spirit. Hey, Kat.
Would you know exactly what those are made of? What's in there?
So these are plastic pellets with synthetic fabric.
Okay.
So they're light and bright when they fly through the air.
Okay. And then how did you guys progress in terms of, because they look like they have different different shapes, different colors. How did you guys progress in terms of tools?
Well, with poi, there's a whole gamut of different types of poi, depending on what kind of style you want to show, what kind of... Because there are certain moves that you can do with specific types of poi, and certain reasons. For example, like if you're going to be on the beach and you want to do something that's very attractive, very colorful, then you use tail or fabric or flag poi. In the evening, then since there'd be no light, you'd use like LED or fire poi, which is more
like what we see.
Yeah, actually, Alvin,
Alvin,
also known as Inkshade, is using our product called globes. So these would be LED.
And these would be pretty for the beach at night.
Yes. Actually, they're quite popular for kids because just like fire, you know, anything that kind of glows in the dark attracts a lot of people. So yeah, so we essentially just started with tailed poi, and as the business progressed, started to introduce new and different types of poi, like sock poi over here.
And what exactly this sock
Well, sock poi is just the newbie pair of poi. This is what every beginner...
It's a beginner.
Yes. Like actually you could even make your own pair of sock poi. Like those are just your normal socks with...
And what kind of ball do you put inside?
With
is it
rice
a tennis
inside.
ball or is it a...
Well, the ones that we sell have weighted ends, which are usually tennis balls. The ones that he's using are just DIY pois and socks with rice inside. So it doesn't take much to learn poi. You can just buy a pair of socks, get a handful of rice, put it inside, and patola, you've got a pair of sockwear.
So what exactly would be your market? Because obviously, I mean, at this point, it's very bohemian. It's very, I guess, kids after college or college kids even. But I know that a lot of children enjoy doing these things. So how did your market start out with?
Well, it started off as a very yuppie market at the beginning when we first introduced it. It was, you know, a lot of just trend-conscious people just wanted to look cool on the beach. But as the business and the market progressed and learned more about poi abroad, I'd like to break it down to like 4 different categories essentially. Now, you've got the market that are really into it for the performing aspect. These are the ones that actually buy products and perform for a living. Okay. Then you've got the play aspect of poi.
And they're not all connected to you.
No. There's you know, we've got a big pool of Filipino talent nationwide that do these art forms. So different communities and groups in Cagayan, in Davao, and
I'm sure they get commissioned for maybe not weddings, but birthday parties and other events, right?
So you've got that market. Okay. You've got the performing market. Then you've got the play aspect, which is where the kids come in. Right. So what we're actually planning to do or working on now is to get poi into schools. Okay. And we've got
as physical education.
Yes, as an after-school activity, as part of PE. Actually, we've done a couple workshops and classes, like for example, Everest in the fort has a club.
Part progressive, right?
Yeah. And LaSalle also does, as far as I know, has it as part of cheer dancing, as part of the PE.
So you've tapped into the traditional schools as well.
Actually, not even me as a business. It's kind of
a mindset.
Yeah, it's grown on its own. Because the thing about poi and all these different things, it's happening abroad. Okay. No one's aware of it here. The only reason why that we're top of mind is because we've been around so long. Okay. But
where do they find you, if ever? Because obviously, I mean, parents of these kids would like to talk to professionals, perhaps, and get the nice products and the right products. Yep. Where do they find you, and how much do these things go for?
Well, you can find us online. You can just go to Google and type Planet Zips. The first hit you'll get is probably our Facebook page. Okay. So our products range from 400 pesos to 1,600 pesos. We've got about 8 to 10 different types of products. So yeah, we've got a shop at the end of Buendia. It's City Land 8, so it's right by the rail tracks.
So would you say this is lucrative as a business, or you'd see it as more of really a sideline because you are in advertising, as you had mentioned?
Well, it has big potential.
Because it's still very new in the Philippines.
Poi has been around for quite some time, but we've only been really So we've really only been pushing it as a business for the past 2 years.
And do you always have, let's say, a yearly festival of sorts that people can go to? I mean, people who want to learn about it, people who are already very much into it, the performers, and then your other sister like Hoopnation. Do you have anything like that?
Actually, we do. We've got an annual calendar that we work on. We've got quarterly events, a big one called Spindependence. This has been happening for the past 3 years.
What month does it fall?
Usually it's every 2 to 3 months. It doesn't have an exact date, but every quarter we try to have one. Okay. And then we've got bi-monthly spin jams. We call them spin jams, similar to how skaters and parkouristas, and they kind of meet up in different locations to just jam. We do the same thing. We meet up in parks, garages, malls, wherever, ideally outdoors. Right. If we can find permits and people nice enough to let us play with fire.
I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
Because it's fun to watch.
Exactly.
You know, when you go to the beach, I particularly always look for it. And I know there's always, especially during maybe Holy Week or Christmas, I'm sure you guys are busy during those times.
And I think Filipinos in general are, love being entertained and love to entertain people. Right. We're very happy people. And one thing I love about this business and all these art forms is because it's so happy. You learn something new, you teach someone, and then they bring it around and they show their lola. The kids learn it, they show their mom, and it's just one big happy, happy bubble.
It looks like it's easy to do. I'm not about to do it today, but would you say that it's easy to learn?
Well, everyone's got their own learning curve. Some people pick it up really quickly.
I'm sure kids pick it up really quickly.
You know what? Kids pick it up really quickly, like around 10 years old.
Because they're fearless, right?
And they're so fresh. Muscle memory is fresh. I mean, the older you get, the more difficult it is. You got a lot of bad habits, a lot more challenging positions and movements that you weren't able to do anymore. So yeah.
So for a 30-something-year-old.
Oh no! By all means, we've got. My mom has been dying to hoop and
Has
poi.
she tried it?
When Bernadette, you of Hoopaholic Cebu, which is the company that provides us the hoops here in Manila, I bought a hoop from her, and my mom was the first one to pick it up and swing it around her neck. And what's interesting about all these props, toys, is the fact that, you know, people have that childish enthusiasm inside of them. Whether you're like a lola, whether you're 25 years old, you know, you pick it up, and then immediately they're like, oh my God, I haven't done this since I was like 10. You know, I saw my mom's face, I see it in like, you know, some 45, 50, 60-year-old person. They pick it up, they're like, wow, this is so much fun! You know, and for me, that's precious.
Okay, well, before we go to the break, let's actually talk about Circle of Hope.
Oh, cool, yeah. So Circle of Hope was actually started by us as just a Christmas outreach. It's our program where we reach out and bring together our communities, our customers, all the performers who use all our products, to share the love, share and teach kids that are underprivileged. The first one we did was in Marikina. We tied up with Red Cross. So we spent a whole afternoon with them just teaching them how to make poi out of upcycled goods. So they'd paint on it, and then they'd make their own poi, and then we'd teach them. But in the long term, Circle of Hope would hopefully give back to the communities that we support by teaching them something that would actually give them a way to earn a living. You know, so instead of, for example, hiring performers or whatever performers you have around the community, you have the people themselves that would, you know, perform, whether it be in the barangays. So in turn, it'd be just, you know, them learning something and earning from it at the same time.
All right, sustainable communities, I
Yes.
like it. Up next, more on Hoopnation and Flow Arts Philippines after the break. Keep it here. Shop Talk will be right back. We're talking about the business and art of spinning pois and hula hooping. Still with us is Paulino Servado. He's the owner and CEO of Planet Zips. Well, we were talking about Planet Zips a while ago. You didn't mention that you had a lot of different, I guess, performances as well as classes,
Yep.
right? Because people can go to you and learn about zipping. Talk to us about that.
So aside from the products, actually there's 3 revenue streams we have for this business. We've got products, then we've got the academy, and then we've got the performances. So we're done with the products. The academy is next. We've got about 5 to 8 different location-based classes around Manila.
Okay.
It's in QC, UP, Alabang, Fort, Salcedo Park,
And
and
you have
Makati.
your own classrooms, or what exactly?
Mostly
where
are
exactly
in
do you
parks.
oh, in parks, okay.
Though our home would be in Arts in the City, in the Fort.
Okay.
So there we have studios. So in different locations, sometimes we have fire jams, but in most cases it's non-fire. And we also offer...
Especially for the kids who
want
want
to
try.
Of course. During summer, we have specialized classes just for kids.
Okay.
So we've got the location-based classes, and we also do private tutorials. We've done retreats. Actually, we partnered up with Mandala Spa just
Okay.
during Holy Week. And there was a flow artist, a poi artist named Fede. Hey, Fede, in Argentina. He flew in all the way to be with us for about 3 months. So he taught poi, performed, and we did a 3-day poi retreat in Boracay. So we've tied up with a couple of friends to have festivals. So every time there's like an out-of-town festival, for example, like in the Circle, in Zambales, we do workshops there. We partnered up with Philippine Surfing Academy. So they've been doing poi workshops there as well. So really the academy is there to teach poi.
Okay.
The products are there to give people the tools and the toys to use it. And then the third would be the performances. We've got the performing group called the Planet Zips Luminaries. So the way that this works is we draft all the best graduates from the academy. So this shuffles around every year, and then they're the ones that perform. So every time there are inquiries around for gigs, big branded events, or as small as birthday parties or weddings, they would then tap the luminaries for the performance aspect. So essentially, we got these 3 offerings that kind of support each other, all to promote the art of poi.
Okay, so when people go to you for classes, is it okay that we ask how much exactly the classes range
Yeah,
from?
sure. We've got drop-in rates of 450 pesos for a 2-hour class.
Okay.
Then we've got 3 different monthly packages. We've got 1 month, 2 months, and 3 months. So the 1 month package is 1.6. So that makes it 400 per class. It's once a week.
Okay.
And then we've got the 2-month package, which is 375 pesos per class. That's 8 classes. And then we've got the 3-month package, which brings it down to 350 pesos a class for 12 class package.
Okay. Well, I do see a lot of other instruments in the studio today. A hula hoop is something that I'm familiar with. I guess everyone is familiar with hula hoops from childhood. But you also are going to talk about Hoopnation.
Yeah. Actually, these hoops are care of Hoopaholic Cebu. It's a friend's company named Bernadette Yu. So she's doing what we did with Poi 7 years ago with hula hoop. She just picked it up on her own, created her own company. So I've been really supporting her, bringing her products here in Manila. And now people like Tempest, also known as Sweet Caneos.
So what is her real name?
Her real name's Sweet.
Okay.
But we all have stage names. So that's kind of like the fun aspect of we all have performer names, fire names.
I mean, I've seen hula hooping before, but this is really an art form pretty much, isn't it?
And Daniel Darwin in Machu Picchu, like he just became a grand champion of Talentadong Pinoy, Astro Boy. So he has kind of elevated the whole art form to the main stage, to the mainstream, which is quite timely because just while we're selling hoops here in Manila, Daniel's done a big part in promoting it and making it more well known.
What exactly is flow arts generally? Because that's what you fall under.
So flow arts is this emerging category of art forms that integrate dance with object manipulation through different skill toys or props that you'd use. No? So Poi would be one of them, and if you I've got a whole gamut displayed there from staffs.
I sort of seen nunchucks. I'm not sure if you call them nunchucks.
You've got staffs there which are contact LED fire staffs, and then we've got the fire Poi there in the bottom on the red towel. And then if you come up again, you've got the wood and oak bugengs, which are made in Japan by the inventor.
They're beautiful.
Dai. So they're
very martial arts.
Yes, actually a lot of the flow arts draws a lot of inspiration from different other arts, like for example martial arts, juggling, circus arts. So it's all about manipulating and finding that state of what we call state of flow, where someone is just completely involved and for me the simplest way to put it is being effortlessly at your best.
Okay.
You're just flowing, you're not thinking about your movements, but you're focused but yet free at the same time. And for flow artists and people that do these art forms, it's a very addicting and a very fulfilling aspect of why we do these hobbies.
And do you say that most people who are into it use it as an escape from their real life? Or do people envelope it and make it sort of their lives? Because it really is a way of life, like a surfer.
Exactly.
Usually, you get into it, then you really like it, and then you end up either becoming a surfing guru, or it just becomes your way of life. Yeah. Is it the same for this?
I'm glad that you mentioned that, because like people usually just look at these things and they're just like, oh, just a bunch of toys. But
very complicated
with any hobby, people take it at different levels. Some people take it in the more advanced level and want to become performers. Other people do it as just mere play. Other people really take it on as a movement practice. Where they take time out of their day, set aside, put on their favorite music, and just trip out and progress with these art forms. And if people are more interested in these things, they could really look up a lot of festival videos. Like if you're aware of arts and music festivals like in the States, like Burning Man, Lightning in a Bottle, and there are a lot of different communities and retreats, like in Costa Rica, you've got Play Poi in Bali, you've got all these different festivals that if you travel, you'd be seeing them everywhere.
I'm listening to you, but I'm fascinated by what he's doing. What exactly is that called?
That is called contact juggling.
Can you do that?
I'm still learning how to do it. It would fall under the circus arts.
It's so beautiful. It's almost like it's suspended.
Exactly. So for us, when we manipulate these objects, it's both a very personal and a performative aspect.
Right.
Like this, for example, contact juggling would be a very meditative state of flow. Like
so you have to be one with the object.
You'd play some trip hop, zone out, stay in your room, and just and just practice. As opposed to say the other ones, which would be, for example, if you'd be using LED staff, you'd be like in the middle of a club, somewhere like in Barcelona going nuts. If you were like doing fire Poi, you could be in Bali or in the middle of the desert in Burning Man. So You know, the cool thing about these things is you can literally take it anywhere. You know, if you travel, you've got all these communities in Barcelona, South America, people doing all sorts of different things and really pushing what they can do with the objects and their bodies. And if you go online, all these niche communities are interconnected through websites and social media. So when you travel, you get to meet all these beautiful, wonderful people.
Paulino and Flow Arts.
Yep.
Good to see you again and all the best. Let's see if I get into one of these things. And thank you for watching Shop Talk. I'm Lexi Schultz, sitting in for Ria Tanhuatco Trillo. Follow ANC Shop Talk on Twitter and be a fan of ANC Shop Talk on Facebook. Enjoy the rest of your day.